Welcome to this match between Sri Lanka, the hosts, and Singapore here in the Asian Rugby Sevens circuit, live from Colombo, Sri Lanka. The racecourse grounds is the home for this edition. And Singapore and Sri Lanka, two very similar teams in standard, will play each other. That's the number 7 Hemakumari. Sandhika Hemakumari for Sri Lanka will be under a bit of pressure after her performance in the last game. Good bump up in the middle from Sri Lanka, but not keeping their feet in the tackle, the Sri Lanka team, and giving away the first penalty of the game to Singapore. And here's the Singaporean Samantha Lee Teo, smashed in the tackle, an outstanding hit there from the Sri Lankan. And now Singapore will look to try and find some space, but there's a lot of bunching up in the middle here, as Singapore have a man over. And almost to the 5-meter line is Jiu Chan, but unfortunately the ball going into touch of a Sri Lankan player. Chan with a good run there. She had the space on the outside, just didn't have enough to beat the tackle of Thirini Vijayakun, or Dineshika Munasinghe it was in fact. Dineshika Munasinghe getting across, doing some good cover. Singapore winning the line out and trying to maul it over. But good strength at the breakdown, and over in the corner goes Yu Li Ang. It's Zhu Ni Wu actually who goes over for that try. Bernadette Ni Wu. Using her power from close range, and Sri Lanka conceding early on. But, that maul was an interesting one. Not many that get used in Sevens rugby. Might have been a bit of a truck and trailer there as well. We see it here. Bernadette just picking it up and powering over from close range. Absolutely nothing Sri Lanka could do to stop them. Kick-off from Alvinia Young. And this is the speedster for Sri Lanka, Anushatta Nayaka. Losing the ball though in the process, managed to beat a couple of defenders but needed to hang on to it. And now Singapore have turned it over. Here's some space for Chiu Hong Sim. And Chan, the playmaker, goes to ground. And Bernadette will now take it quickly. Good presence of mind from her. There's plenty of women over, but she doesn't need anybody. And powering over for her second try of the game is Bernadette Ni Wu. Outstanding play by Wu, just ran straight, committed the Sri Lankan defenders to come over and guard the players on her outside. Watch here, indecision on the part of Anushatta Nayaka as to who to take. She needed to take the ball carrier, but just not enough on the change of direction for the defender, and Bernadette just leaves her in the dirt. A lovely try from Singapore from the turnover. And the conversion will be attempted by Hugh Min Chong. Number 8 with the conversion, Oh Yong. It was, not Min Chong. That's her again, Alvinia Oh Yong. And now Hemakumari gives it to her captain, who was Tanuja Dilrukshi. Asking for it again, but no room. They need to spread it quickly. Once again, the skipper, Virat Kohli, running into a wall of Singaporean defense, and once again Singapore's defense up really quickly. The pass has nothing on it, and Teo smacked into her opponent. That was good work from Kumudumali off the ground. And now we have Anusha, who's running backwards. Tanuja Virat Kohli running backwards and losing ground actually, but managing to win the penalty. So Sri Lankans really looking to go outside their players. Hema Kumari hits a nice angle, beautiful angle by Hema Kumari. Shrugs off the tackle of the would-be Singaporean defender, and Hema Kumari eventually goes to ground. And Sri Lanka now have it through their captain Virat Kohli. Here's a nice long ball out to Anusha Attanayaka. Attanayaka stepping back on the inside. That's a great try from Sri Lanka. Well created try. Anusha Attanayaka. Good strength there from Hema Kumari to stand in the tackle and make the ball available. And then Singapore just allowed Virat Kohli, the skipper, to take her time with regard to how the ball gets across. And a good pass from the Sri Lankan. Here we see it. That's the pass that made the try, because it was a nice long ball. And Anusha Attanayaka stepping inside, and Chan should have made a better effort there at the defense. And Anusha Attanayaka dotting the ball down very happily for Sri Lanka to get within a try of the Singapore team. Chan there missed a tackle on Attanayaka. She'd want to do better. She's one of the senior players in this Singapore team. Virat Kohli to kick off with the restart now. It's a nice long kick off. And the bounce of the ball. Well, that was a good chase by Sri Lanka as well, and a nothing kick. And let's see what they can do with this broken field play. That was Dineshika Munasinghe. And now Attanayaka seems to go back instead of forward some of the time. And recovered well by Samantha Teo. And in the breakdown have turned it over, Singapore. This is good work from the Sri Lankans. Coming back through that ball is, through that ruck is Chan. Referee says she was legal. And now Sri Lanka have turned it over. There's a little bit of indecision by Sri Lankan halfback players. Whoever's playing in the halfback position needs to get that ball out quickly. But two Singaporean players on the ground here off your screen. There they are. One's gotten up, but Alvinia Ouyang has stayed on the floor. That's not good news for Sri Lanka, for Singapore, because she's their kicker as well. But that's Virat Kohli in your picture there, the Sri Lankan skipper, who have performed a little bit better for now. Sri Lanka 7, Singapore 12. Both tries to Bernadette Niwu. And it looks very much like Alvinia Ouyang cannot continue.
In the league stage, Sri Lanka beat Singapore 38-0. Singapore will be looking for sweet revenge. They are leading 12-7.
Pictures live from the racecourse ground here in Colombo, this third edition of the Asian Sevens series. The Singaporean team watching on anxiously as Alvinia Ouyang receives attention. They're making sure they take every precaution here in the medical emergencies. But she's up, Alvinia, and looks like she's willing to carry on. Not sure whether the Singaporean Well, that looks like she's just had a cut under her eye, so nothing too serious. Nothing of an injury of sort, just a surface injury. So that's half time, and Singapore will be very relieved that nothing serious is wrong with Yong there. Lee Teo calls the team together in the huddle, and that's 12-7 at the halftime break. Just one score in it. Sri Lanka not so far away. 2 tries to 1, and Coach Chandrishan Pereira will be telling his team that they've not got a lot to catch up. They've got to score first when we come back after the break. Here's a second try for Singapore. Bernadette doing the right thing, running straight, trying to commit the defender and open up space for players on her outside. But the tackle not coming, and the tackle not coming there either as Anusha Attanayake dots it down. Chan missing that tackle, so 2 bad pieces of defense leading to the tries, the last 2 tries that were scored. Bernadette Wu also scoring the first try, powering over from a maul that was brought down about 3 or 4 meters from the line. Kicking off is Tanuja Virakodi, and Bernadette Wu has been very involved in this game. Takes the kickoff as well, and Chan runs laterally and now puts her winger into space. That was Hu Min Chong. Chong, this is Alvinia. And now the ball from Chiu Hong Sim. Lovely loop around, and Singapore now with a little bit of space. The sweeper coming across needs to make a tackle, and Sri Lanka do well to turn that ball over. Holding on in the tackle, says the referee. Joining me in the commentary box, Sri Lanka player in 7s and 15s, Bilal Hassan. A lot to do for Sri Lanka to catch this one up, Bilal.
Yeah, there's a big score here. Well, as long as the girls keep up their normal pace, they should be fine.
Is the halfback for Sri Lanka taking the tap in the penalty. Stepping through is the skipper, Virat Kohli, rolling over and making that ball available. But the Singaporean defense up very quickly. I'd be surprised if Hong Sim doesn't get called for being offside there, but the Sri Lankan halfbacks really taking their time. Good straightening there by Tanuja Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli with some good strength. Chan gets across to make the tackle. And now the ball is with Dushmangihani De Silva, Dasuni De Silva. Anusha Attanayake, well picked up there by Randika Kumudumali. And now Virat Kohli, the skipper, runs laterally though, and big hit. It was a hospital pass there to the wing 3/4. Lined her up nicely and forced a knock on. So lots of lateral running, Bilal. Sri Lanka need to straighten the attack at some point.
Yeah, we need to work on those part of the game where we can run straight and just work the ball wide, because we don't have big sizes, so we need to keep the ball in hand and retain our own ball here.
This is the girl who came on and created a try in the last game, Dulani Palikondage. She's got some gas on her, so Coach Pereira keeping her for the last bit, and she replaces Hema Kumari, who's done for this game. Good scrum by Singapore there, managing to wheel it around. Hard work in the 7 scrums, isn't it, Bilal? You never know really what's going on, who's wheeling it, who's doing what.
Yeah, it's a completely different ball game in there. Only forwards would know
Yes, and that's one aspect of the game that Sri Lanka need to work on, getting a few more forwards into the sevens arena, as we see Singapore busting straight up the middle there through Chiu Hong Sim. And now it's available. They've got numbers on the outside if Chan can hit that gap, but she manages to keep it in hand and make a good run up the middle. If they can release the ball, not rolling away is the call from the referee, so Singapore will have the penalty. Teo will take this and go on the short side. Chan once again coming back on the same side, and Teo goes in after this. Hu Ming Chong. It's available now for Singapore. Looping round is Chan. Chan needs to straighten the attack. And that looks like it's going to be a try in the corner, is it? No, it's not. Good cover tackle by Dulani Pallikondage. Outstanding cover tackle, and Anusha Attanayaka retains that ball. Well done by Sri Lanka there. Outstanding cover defense, but again good counter-rucking by Yui Lee Ang. And that's the corner try. That's going to be an easy score for Singapore. What do you put that down to, Bilal? It was a great cover tackle, but that try very easily scored by Singapore in the end. That was scored by Chiu Hong Sim. But Sri Lanka just not able to keep the phases together.
We just need to learn to retain our own ball. As you saw previously, how our girl just got bumped off in the ruck. So that's where we need the size. We need some big players over there to secure our own ball.
Is it only size, Bilal? Because we've played teams, I mean, you've played against teams that are much bigger than us. It's the technique also needs to be there, isn't it?
It's a mixture of size and technique, but you'll always need your body mass to hold up some other big boy coming from the other side.
Alvinia Ouyang from the touchline, but the conversion is not good. So Sri Lanka trailing by 17 points to 7 here. It's a good performance so far from the Sri Lankan team. But Singapore has been clinical in the way they've gone about this. Alvinia has been outstanding. And Chan as well carrying the ball. Missed a few opportunities, but Singapore will be very happy with this performance. This is the captain, Tanuja Virakodi, puts it to her boot. And Ouyang is back sweeping. Tanuja Virakodi. The kick comes off the defending Sri Lankan player and then goes into the hands of Virakodi, who was offside. And once again, a Singaporean player goes down. So a comedy of errors there, Bilal. And all these teams at the lower end of this Asian Sevens women's circuit need to do a few more hours of training.
Yeah, I'll agree with you with that in that, Chanaka. Our girls need to go hit the gym more compared to the other continents, other Asian girls. Our women's league is very poor, so we need to improve on that.
That's the kick forward from Ouyang. It comes off the Sri Lankan defender, and then Tanuja Virakodi picks it up from an offside position. And that's why the referee had to bring it back for the knock forward. So 17 points to 7 is how it reads on the scoreboard right now. Singapore versus Sri Lanka live from the Asian Rugby Sevens circuit, the third leg here in Colombo at the racecourse grounds. And much better conditions for the players to be playing in right now as compared to the afternoon, Bilal. It's pretty hot out here, isn't it?
Yeah, I know that. I've been there. I mean, it's quite hard to play a sevens tournament the whole day, and especially when you play it for 2 days. It's going on their last tank right now.
Unfortunately, we can now move into the evening so that the finals can be played at least under the lights. Makes a massive difference. The intensity of the game goes up about 20 or 30%, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true, Shanaka.
Injuries have played quite a major part in this tournament so far. Almost every game seeing the stretcher coming out. That's a shame. And what does that come down to, Bilal? Is it just a question of not being in good enough condition?
That can be answered in two different ways, but that would play a major role. Your pre-season conditioning will play a major role, and how you consist your energy for 2 days of a tournament. And I believe this is the third leg, right? And so this is coming to the end of their circuit. So they've already made all their replacements, and all the girls are at the last point.
Yes, and that's when even your muscles can give up on you, and the muscles are the ones that protect the joints. So ankles, knees, shoulders all need to be really carefully looked after pre-season, as Bilal was saying. And luckily having a little bit of a break here, I think the players will not complain about this too much because they get to have a bit of a rest. Geraldine Chai on for Singapore as well with the ball in her hand. She's one of the replacements come off the bench. Singapore have emptied their bench, and coach Chandrashan has sent on Dulani, who made a try-saving cover tackle earlier on. So replacements really important in this sevens game. And rugby, Bilal, now it's a 23-man game, and the sevens is definitely a 10-man game.
True, Shanika, you need a good squad to play a host, to go through a whole sevens tournament, because you need to make the replacements at the right time. It's hard to play 2 days of continuous rugby. As
coach Chandrashan Pereira, when he's not coaching, he's obviously with us here in the commentary box, but these are the Tusker girls he's gotten under his wing, and needs his players to come back from a 10-point deficit. So the Singaporean player Alvinia being stretchered off. Eventually she was down with a bit of an injury earlier on, but that was a superficial one. But unfortunately looks like this is a little bit more serious. Hope she recovers soon. Big scrum by Sri Lanka, managed to drive Singapore off the ball. Here's Dulani waiting for the bounce, manages to wrestle it off the Singaporean. And once again, absolutely no awareness of what's happening at the breakdown. Tanuja Virakori just standing and watching the ball instead of picking it up. Now they have some numbers on the right available. Good offload from the ground. And there we go. That is again that lateral running we were talking about a little earlier, but Anusha Tanayaka takes it behind her and now will put her ears back for the corner. We've got a chase coming on, but they're not going to catch her. The Sri Lankan speedster is over once again. Great try from Anusha Tanayaka. She had it all to do when she picked the ball up, and on the angle she would have run a good 60 meters to score that try, Bilal.
Yeah, she has been playing a really good tournament. She's been carrying a lot of weight on her shoulders from the team. She has some speed on the outside. They should try using her more often.
Yes, they finally managed to get it to her. And that tackle coming across, and just a trip. Does well to hold on to the ball because she wasn't expecting that ankle tap. Would have been real tragedy if she dropped the ball under the post there, but Anusha Tanayaka doing really well. And that's pretty much the end of the game between Sri Lanka and Singapore, and that score getting Sri Lanka within a couple of points, but nevertheless it's 17 points to 14. That's how it finishes here in Colombo between the hosts and Singapore.